Hello. So, this is close to being one of my final vlogs, but for this vlog, I'm going to talk about Old Jack in A Place on Earth. Old Jack was probably my favorite character besides Jaber, but Old Jack is just a really interesting guy. I wrote on my final progress report that one of the things that was invisible to me that now isn't is just this idea of the elderly and how like they actually lived their lives on Earth before like I did, or anyone that my age did. So like they were my age once and they went through all of it, and like I had an idea of what that meant, but now like after reading the chapter on Old Jack and how he just sat on the stump and he just watched the farmhand. I can't remember the farmhand's name, but after he watched him just like being able to like farm just as well as like Old Jack, like he's very proud of the way that he farmed, and like going into their house, and like it was once his house, and then seeing like the kitchen and the way that it was presentable and actually better than what Old Jack had left it. I think that speaks volumes. He's realizing that his life is ending and that it's not necessary really for him to be on the earth anymore, that he's lived his life. And for me, that's a really scary thought, to think that maybe one day, because right now like the thought of death honestly kind of terrifies me, but right now thinking that Old Death has lived his life and that he literally said, when I die, I want you to give the farm to them. That's huge that he's able to recognize that his life is ending, but that it's going to be okay and that life will go on. And he's finally, he has his grip on the life that he's lived and the elements that he could control, and he's slowly loosening his grip on everything. And let me see here. He honestly reminds me of my grandfather, to where my grandfather lived with us for a while, since I was about 8 or 9, when we moved down to Jackson. And I helped take care of my grandfather, and towards the end years of his life, like he couldn't even walk anymore. His muscles were eroding. Like he was very he was very like his muscles were just like not there, and his mind was never there in the first place, because when he was young he had this thing called rheumatic fever or scarlet fever, and so he really couldn't do a lot except when he was growing up and stuff, and when he was a young man, like he could work, he could like mow lawns, and he was a janitor and he could make a living. And that's how my mom was born, was or like raised up. She went through a lot growing up though, but not getting into that. The idea that my grandfather, he was an old man, but what seemed most long lasting on me is that just how much like my grandpa really did not want to die. And so like the thing was is that the way that he was declining before my mom managed to like bring him into our house, he should have honestly died like years before he finally passed away. But then the doctor even said like his heart was very strong, and it's almost like Old Jack, he had this grip on life. And finally, when I was about 17, he slipped into like a coma, and he did pass away. But he was a big impact on my life, and I learned a lot of lessons through my grandfather. But he just reminds me a lot of Old Jack, to where he sees this like new generation coming in. And even like I remember one time he did slip in a coma a few days before his final passing, and I went into his room and I just started yelling, "Grandpa, Grandpa," and he woke up from it. And I like to think that he realized that he is missed and that life is going on. As harsh as that sounds, like I think it's a comforting thought too, that life is going on and that he's missed and he's loved. And yeah. And so yeah, that's the vlog for today. It's about Old Jack and just the struggles that he's gone through life. And invisibility, like we really honestly don't know. Like me right now, I don't know what the thoughts are of, you know, the elderly right now, because like we're in different stages of life and we've gone through different life events. But yeah, so that's this week's vlog. Catch you later. Bye.